Forget about Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches. This is one of the most in-demand cars in Australia today. It's the Toyota LandCruiser 70 series. At its height, demand for this car saw some dealers advertising a wait list of between 4 years and never. Right? That's the kind of demand you usually expect for those sort of exotic supercars. And as you can see, this is not an exotic supercar. So, what makes it so highly desirable? Well, we've come here to Broken Hill to find out. Now let's start by taking a look at the design, because obviously this isn't the most modern looking thing, but that is actually a big part of its appeal. The 70 series, which incorporates a single and dual cab ute, there's a wagon, and of course the iconic troop carrier, well, it arrived in the mid-1980s, effectively replacing the original 40 series of Land Cruisers. Now, as the Land Cruiser family has expanded and diversified over the years, well, the 70 series has stayed true to its original roots, both in its looks and its mechanical nature. And so it really is the rugged workhorse off-road adventurer of even the Land Cruiser lineup. For this 2024 version, they've given it a pretty significant makeover, arguably its biggest makeover ever. We've got this new grille, we've got a new grille with new headlights. Now these headlights are actually quite modern looking given the rest of the car, but they're designed to be, the front end is actually designed to be retro, in some ways throwing back to that original 40 series, although I'm not sure actually you can technically call it retro if this has never really fully modernized. Jumping inside the 70 series is a bit like going back in time. There are, some modern touches to this, but overall it does feel like this design is decades old, because it is, really. I mean, really not much has changed since this thing launched in '84. You've still got a lot of just hard plastics. You've got some sweet retro, well, again, not retro, it's just classic air conditioning vents. But you've got, air conditioning controls, I should say. But you have got a new 6.7-inch infotainment touchscreen, although it doesn't actually run Toyota's proprietary system. You've actually, on the dash here, you've got a little new 4-inch digital screen, so you have got a digital speedo, which is fairly high-tech for this car. This is the GXL, so you do get power windows. If you get the other two, the lower grade GX or Workmate, you will have these little levers that you have to actually turn around. They're window winders. So if you're anyone under the age of 35, you've probably never seen that in your life. And of course, you've got some classic 80s seat fabric trim. So it is, it's a unique place to be, no doubt. You know, like, again, a big part of the appeal of this car is the fact that it hasn't changed. You know, the people that really are spending the money on this car actually really like this. If you look at it from an objective, if you're a modern automotive consumer, you will look at it and go, this is super old-fashioned. But if you understand the 70 series, if this is the car you want, well then this is exactly the interior you want. A bonus of the new automatic is a redesigned area between the front seats, resulting in some much needed extra storage space. There are a pair of cup holders and an extra little small item area to make life a little bit easier. It's an improvement, but there is still very little in the way of actual practical storage spaces inside this Land Cruiser. It's worse in the V8 models though, which are incredibly light on any sort of practical space. There's a single cup holder and the door pockets that are so narrow you'd struggle to get anything much bigger than a muesli bar or a magazine inside them. In terms of the second row space, this is obviously the dual cab ute, but the wagon that we've tested here is basically the same size. It's got a bit of a reverse TARDIS thing going on the 70 series, where it's a very big car on the outside, but not so big on the inside. As you can see, this is probably my driving position. My knees are right up against the seat. It's a very flat, upright, very upright seat back. It's a pretty utilitarian back seat. There's no air vents. The only thing to entertain yourself back here is some grab handles, which frankly when you go off-roading you're going to need, because this is the kind of adventure car, but it's maybe it's very much centered around those front seat passengers. Those in the back are really just along for the ride. But while the interior may be dated, people buy this Land Cruiser for its practicality on the outside, especially the 79 series utes. The payload in the tray varies from a maximum of 1,265 kilograms for the 4-cylinder single cab chassis to 1,250 kilograms for the V8 powered dual cab. Importantly for owners, the 4-cylinder has the same 3,500 kilogram brake towing capacity as the V8. Now let's talk pricing, and this is the most hard to understand element of the 70 series for anyone new to the model. That's because despite being a nearly 4-decade-old design with almost no changes, the cheapest model in the range starts at a staggering $75,600. That's for the 76 series wagon workmate, with the cheapest 79 series single cab ute priced from $76,800 and the most affordable dual cab ute starting at $79,300. For comparison, a HiLux 4x4 single cab chassis workmate ute starts at $40,965. That's more than $35,000 cheaper, or about the same price as a mid-spec Corolla hybrid. And what do you get for that eye-watering price? Well, the workmate comes with manual wind-up windows and misses out on the small 1980s era digital clock, which does demonstrate just how powerful the pull of the 70 series is for buyers. They buy it more for what it does than for what it has. Thankfully, the next grade up, the GX, adds the digital clock back, but it does keep the wind-up windows. Only in the range-topping GXL model do you get modern conveniences like power windows. Although, as mentioned earlier, there is a new 6.7-inch infotainment touchscreen, complete with a USB port that allows Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to work, which is impressive when you consider the USB wasn't actually invented until the 70 series was 12 years old. Now, the 70 series range consists of 17 models, which is much too much to dive into here, so if you want more details on the specifications and pricing, make sure you read my in-depth written review at carsguide.com.au. What is under the bonnet is really big news for this latest 70 series because it has this, which is not the iconic 4.5 litre V8 turbo diesel. It's actually the 2.8 litre 4-cylinder diesel engine from the HiLux. And for the first time in a very long time, the 70 series has, get this, an automatic transmission. And people say it's not modern. This new engine choice is a controversial one, as a big part of the 70 series appeal has been its 4.5 litre V8 turbo diesel. But despite its size, the V8 only makes a relatively modest 151 kilowatts and 430 newton meters, while the new 4-cylinder diesel proves that there is a replacement for displacement by making 150 kilowatts and 500 newton meters. Despite boasting more torque, the 4-cylinder also is more fuel efficient. It uses 9.6 litres per 100k compared to 10.7 litres for the V8. That hardly makes it the most frugal 4-cylinder diesel, but given the size of the 70 series, that's a respectable return. Thanks to both the ute and the wagon having a huge 130 litre fuel tank, the 70 series boasts a maximum driving range of more than 1,350 kilometres, perfect for accessing the remote regional areas, which is this vehicle's speciality. Even with the V8 engine, the range is more than 1,200 kilometres. The Troop Carrier, however, only has a 90 litre tank, but that's still good enough for more than 900 kilometres with the diesel and nearly 850 kilometres with the V8. Now let's cut to the chase in terms of how does it drive, because I know if you've made it this far in the video and you're a 70 series diehard, the burning question that is eating you up inside is this 4-cylinder any good? How could it possibly match that iconic V8 engine? Well, as someone who frankly is new to the 70 series, who doesn't have any sort of preconceived notions of the V8, I gotta tell you, I would pick this 4-cylinder 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. I mean, it is just fundamentally, logically, a better engine. I understand there's going to be a sentimental attachment to the V8, but this 4-cylinder has more torque. It has torque down low. It pulls nice and strongly. We towed, a 3,100 kilogram caravan with the 4-cylinder, and it did it fine. It did it easy. The 6-speed auto does a really good job of maximizing the torque that this engine has. And again, this is an off-roader. This isn't meant to be a quick, cruisy, highway car. This is meant to be an engine that is ideal for pulling you through off-road terrain, for helping you climb over rocks, get through a river, those kind of low-speed, maneuvers need a smooth, low-down delivery of torque, and that is what this engine offers. As for the rest of how it drives, well, as you can imagine, being a 40-year-old off-roader, it drives like a 40-year-old off-roader, at speed 100 kilometers an hour on the freeway. It wants to move around a lot. You quite frankly, you're pretty busy on the wheel, just trying to keep it in the lane. Like it's not the sort of comfortable, highway cruising off-roader. This is a hardcore, get it down and dirty, get muddy, put it in a low range, and really explore the amazing countryside that Australia has to offer. And in that regard, it is fantastic. I totally see the appeal of this car. This is, yes, it's old-fashioned, yes, it's old tech, but it is old tech that works. It will climb over anything, rocks, mud, through a river, up a mountain, down a mountain. It can just do it all. It is so incredibly capable, and that is why people love this car, because it can really take you to amazing places that so few other cars can, like the original Land Rover, the old Mercedes G Professional. They were sort of go anywhere cars. Toyota likes to say this is has no roads capability, and that's kind of true. You don't need to, you don't need a road. This will go down any sort of off-road trail. But if you need to get somewhere really in the wilderness, if you're a rural firefighter or a national parks worker, that's why those sort of organisations have 70 series. That's why this thing's so popular with those kind of fleets, because it can just take you where no other car for sale today can really manage. If you're the kind of person that's looking to buy this to look tough as you drop the kids to school, well, then you're going to be disappointed. And frankly, you'll probably hate it, and you'll hate life, particularly as you're trying to maneuver in a car park with this really slow steering, and it's got a huge turning circle and all those kind of things. It's not designed for that. This is a fit-for-purpose vehicle. This is meant to serve a singular purpose, and that is massive off-road capability. And if you buy it for that, well, then you're going to be very, very happy. In terms of safety, despite only limited upgrades over the past 39 years, remarkably, the 79 series still has a 5-star ANCAP rating, which only expires this December, which serves as a reminder to always read the fine print when it comes to safety ratings. That's because this 70 series has very few of the active safety features to make a 5-star car these days. But to Toyota's credit, it has added what it could over the years, including autonomous emergency braking, and for 2024, there's lane departure warning with steering assist, roadside assist for speed limits, and automatic high beam lights. The automatic models also add hill descent control, while the wagon has a reversing camera as standard now. And just because it needs to be said, given the standard wind-up windows, the 70 series does come with anti-lock brakes and electronic stability control. It also gets dual front and side airbags as standard. There's no indication yet if ANCAP will test this new model for an updated star rating. Now, to keep up to date, if you want more details on the safety features of the LandCruiser 70 series or any Toyota model, make sure you check out our detailed reviews at carsguide.com.au. As for its ownership credentials, the 70 series is covered by Toyota's standard 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and some owners may want to test that mileage coverage. It's also covered by the company's usual cap price servicing program for the first 5 years and 100,000 kilometres. Servicing intervals are only every 6 months or 10,000 kilometres, which is shorter than average, but not too unusual for a diesel. Each visit, though, will cost $525, so that's $1,050 per year and $5,250 over the first 5 years. The verdict. To be blunt, it's really old. To be candid, it's really overpriced, and it's super narrow in its focus in terms of what it does. So why is the 70 series so popular? I think because of those reasons, because it has never kowtowed to modern convenience, modern technology. It is fundamentally the same car that launched in 1984 and has grown this cult-like following over the intervene in 4 decades. It is what it is, and that's why people love it. Now, if you want to know more about the LandCruiser 70 series, make sure you check out my in-depth written review at carsguide.com.au.